This morning, a new development after two men were wounded in an online deal that went horribly wrong in Maddington. Where is John? The search for a missing Perth man with dementia enters its fifth day. Australia's first ever cyber sanctions publicly unmasking a Russian hacker behind the Medibank scandal. Breaking news on a former PM. What's next for ScoMo? And Stage 3 tax cuts. Will the PM's promises be broken to benefit low-income earners?
This is 7 Morning News, live from Perth, with Tina Altieri.
Good morning. Thanks for your company. A man has been charged over a Facebook marketplace deal that turned violent. Two men aged 28 and 39 were allegedly stabbed in a Maddington laneway on Sunday night when they went to buy a smartphone. Police say the device was a fake. A 21-year-old man from Beckenham has been charged with 2 counts of unlawful wounding. He'll face a magistrate next month. Authorities say it's a timely reminder to stay vigilant when meeting up with strangers to buy and sell goods. You should always meet in a public place with CCTV and take a second person with you. We have breaking news now. Former Prime Minister Scott Morrison has announced his retirement from politics. ScoMo served as the 30th Australian PM between 2018 and 2022, including through the COVID pandemic. Speculation that the member for Cook would resign from Parliament had been mounting since mid-last year. He also served as Social Services Minister and Treasurer under Malcolm Turnbull before making it to the top job. More recently, he was the subject of adverse findings in the Robo-Debt Royal Commission, to which he has denied all wrongdoing. He finishes up at the end of February. A desperate search for a missing Perth man has resumed this morning. 70-year-old John Freilink disappeared from the Mundaring Sculpture Park on Thursday night. No one has seen or heard from him since. He'd been walking with his wife and dog. Mounted police, drones and significant SES manpower have been part of a large-scale search effort. Police hold grave concerns for his safety as Mr Freilink has dementia. Well, for the first time, the Australian government has used new powers to punish and publicly unmask a Russian hacker who was at the centre of the Medibank hacking scandal. The 2022 incident saw the personal data of more than 9 million Australians exposed. Ben Downey reports from Canberra.
Good morning. Never before has Australia used its cyber sanctions powers. This morning, that changed. Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill and Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles announcing Russian cybercriminal Alexander Ermakov was the subject of these unprecedented powers for his role in the 2022 hack of Medibank. The names, records, dates of birth and information of 9.7 million Australians were sold on the dark web. Now, after an 18-month exhaustive investigation by the Australian Signals Directorate, there is a travel ban in place against Ermakov and there are targeted financial sanctions. Nobody can trade or provide assets to him and it's punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Take a listen.
It sends a clear message that there are costs and consequences for targeting Australia and for targeting Australians.
Australia's Five Eyes intelligence partners understand cybercriminals thrive on anonymity. By not only sanctioning him, but naming and shaming Ermakov, it's hoped it will discourage other hackers and cyber gangs from targeting Australian institutions and businesses.
Speculation is growing that the Prime Minister will add to the Stage 3 tax cuts to help low-income earners. Last week, Anthony Albanese said the changes would take place on July the 1st. Now it's understood Cabinet Ministers will consider today whether to increase the tax-free threshold from $18,200.
We are utterly concerned about easing the cost of living pressures on middle Australia. And in every decision we continue to take, that will remain our focus.
The Prime Minister is expected to announce any new cost of living measures in a speech to the National Press Club on Thursday. The state government has announced a funding boost in an effort to tackle homelessness right across our state. It's an ongoing battle for the government and non-government agencies to keep up with the demand for housing and crisis accommodation. A critical shortage of rental properties making the situation even worse. The government has found an extra $50 million to fund more beds and provide certainty for providers. That's part of a 4-year, $2.6 billion package for housing and homelessness.
To date, we've delivered more than 1,850 homes, with another 1,000 under contract or construction.
The government is also beefing up its program to identify every homeless person and then register them for services. Well, it's been a week since wild weather carved its way through the Perth hills, and there are still around 50 homes without power this morning. Crews have been repairing infrastructure in Mount Helena, Gidgegannup, Stoneville and Mundaring. The wheat belt is now the worst affected area, where 900 customers are still in the dark. Western Power crews have replaced or repaired 142 out of the 189 power poles that were damaged. The Duchess of York has admitted she's in shock at being diagnosed with skin cancer. Sarah Ferguson issued the comment as she thanked supporters, adding she was still in good spirits. Ashley Manani reports.
This has been understandably distressing news for Sarah Ferguson. She received this diagnosis just a couple of days after Christmas, the first time she'd celebrated the holidays at Sandringham with the family in over 30 years. That's when doctors told her that a mole that was removed during her breast cancer treatment last year has turned out to be a malignant melanoma. She has been so brave, so courageous during her breast cancer treatment, encouraging women to get checked. Now she's using this as an opportunity to raise awareness about skin cancer too. In a new post on Instagram, Fergie wrote, "Naturally, another cancer diagnosis has been a shock, but I'm in good spirits and grateful for the many messages of love and support." She went on to encourage people to check the size, the shape, the colour and texture of moles, urging people to be diligent. A timely reminder with people out enjoying the Australian summer at the moment.
A surf lifesaver has told of the moment he's stumbled upon a $200,000 brick of cocaine floating off the coast of Sydney.
So I've just been up between their heads and I've just found this little package of, looks like cocaine. So we're just about to hand that over to the police. So Zoe, you're going to miss out on your Christmas present.
Hundreds of kilograms of the drug have been recovered from beaches all along the New South Wales coast. Well, it's been 3 months since WA smashed records at telethon. All those donations, big and small, have started to trickle down to the hundreds of beneficiaries. For one riding school, it's meant a life-changing upgrade in therapy technology. Monique Dirks has more.
5-year-old Tori lives with almost constant pain, but today she felt joy.
Are we going to manage to go under?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty exciting. I was honestly I thought there was going to be tears. And the experience they've given us is just world class.
Riding a mechanical horse at the Riding for the Disabled Association in Kareem. It's a first for therapy in WA.
It gives us the opportunity to incorporate functional activity, education, therapy. It's kind of the whole package in this beautiful controlled environment, so it doesn't get much better than that, I don't think.
It moves like a horse, sounds like a horse, it even has a real tail and mane. But this horse does something a real one can't.
What's really helpful is that when we sit them on, we get feedback from a little red dot that tells us exactly where their bottom is sitting.
Linked to a screen that shows scenic views, kids have so much fun, they don't realise their little bodies are working so hard.
Oh, we made it through the trees.
The equine simulator was an incredible gift made possible because of telethon. It was purchased at the Telethon Lewin Lunch by Bronte and Colleen Housen from the Audi Centre Perth. A record number of beneficiaries will receive funding this year, with 275 grants being distributed thanks to the incredible generosity of the WA community. For kids like Tori and Nathan, It's already life-changing.
The association is more like a family. The kids grow up with these horses, but eventually they outgrow them. Now they won't have to leave, they just have to move inside.
I honestly believe it's going to be life-changing. I think incorporating equine movement into therapy itself, I literally have the privilege of seeing miracles every time I come down here.
Taking the reins on a new era of therapy. Monique Dirks, 7 News.
Great news. You're watching 7's Morning News live from Perth. Still to come. And then there were two, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, about to face off in New Hampshire. And a freak wave pummels a US military base. That's ahead.
On 7 News, families joining forces to cut grocery bills.
We can save sort of anywhere between 10 and 30%.
Boosting buying power to save thousands. The new budget-saving trend taking off. On 7 News at 6.
Welcome back. A bus has crashed into a shop in Melbourne. The driver lost control, going through a roundabout and smashed straight into the front of the store. There was only one passenger in the car at the time who wasn't hurt. The driver was taken to hospital for observation. Donald Trump has arrived in New Hampshire for the Republican Party primary. The former president is expected to trounce Nikki Haley for the nomination, his only remaining challenger. US Bureau Chief David Woiwod is there.
Good morning. Well, Donald Trump heads into tomorrow's vote here in New Hampshire, hunting that knockout blow he hopes will deliver him the Republican Party nomination for the presidency. And if the polls are to be believed, he looks set to achieve it.
Donald Trump's the lesser of two evils.
I like his policies.
Team Trump is framing tomorrow's vote now as a mere formality, widening to a double-digit lead over his only rival, Nikki Haley.
Rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him.
The former president will make his final pitch at a rally tonight. His schedule, though, upended by a sick juror in New York City. Trump had been planning to testify in the defamation case against him after he was found liable of sexually assaulting former journalist E. Jean Carroll. Will that case have an impact on voters here? That's the big question now. Joe Biden making his own pitch to the undecided, hoping his predecessor's extreme stance on abortion, as he calls it, will move the needle.
We're fighting hard to reinstate your rights and the rights to protect women and families and doctors who care for those women.
The former president is now enjoying the backing of most of those who challenged him for the Republican Party crown, as New Hampshire voters have their say, potentially setting the Trump-Biden rematch much of America is now already anticipating.
A landslide in southwestern China has killed at least 8 people and left dozens missing. The slide struck a village in the mountainous Yunnan province. 47 people were trapped under tons of earth and debris. More than 500 people were evacuated from their homes. Nearly 1,000 rescue workers are at the site, racing against the clock to find survivors in sub-zero temperatures. Powerful waves have pummeled a US military base on the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean.
Keep the door closed, keep the door closed. Whoa! Whoa!
The waves, driven by offshore storm surges, have caused significant damage, forcing all non-military personnel to evacuate. There were no reports of injuries. Stay with us here on 7. Sport is coming up right after the break, including a record-breaking innings by Josh Brown, sending the Brisbane Heat into the Big Bash final. And Carlos Alcaraz sends a warning shot to Novak Djokovic at the Australian Open. The Brisbane Heat will play the Sydney Sixers in tomorrow night's Big Bash final, thanks to the outrageous performance by Josh Brown last night. The opener smashed the second fastest century in competition history off just 41 balls.
There he goes, Brown with a beast of an innings.
Brown's 140 off 57 balls included a record 12 sixes. Defending 7 for 214, Spencer Johnson tore through the Adelaide strikers. His 3 for 20 included leading run scorer Matt Short.
I prefer pace, but when I'm on, it doesn't really matter what you're bowling. I'll just try and hit it for 6 anyway. On to the final, that'll be interesting, SCG, so hopefully get a nice wicket.
The Sixers beat the Heat in the first match of the finals series. Usman Khawaja is fit to play the second test against the West Indies on Thursday. Travis Head may have to play under COVID protocols due to a positive test.
We know that's how Trav plays, and conditions that are quite difficult. He's been able to prove himself time and time again.
Cricket Australia is investigating how Glenn Maxwell needed ambulance and hospital treatment after a big night in Adelaide on Friday. They deny it's why he's been managed out of the one-day squad to face the West Indies. Carlos Alcaraz is a serious threat to Novak Djokovic's reign over the Australian Open. The 20-year-old world number 2 advanced to the quarterfinals with a straight sets thrashing of Serbian Miomir Kekmanovic, 6-love in the third.
I'm feeling better and better every day. I'm feeling better and better every match that I'm playing, coming into the quarterfinal with a lot of confidence.
Alcaraz will take on Germany's Alexander Zverev, who defeated Cameron Norrie in 5 sets, 10-3 in a deciding tiebreak.
An epic encounter comes to an end, and Zverev is through to the quarterfinals.
21-year-old Chinese rising star Qin Wanzheng was seriously impressive in her 6-love, 6-3 win over Oceane Doda. Or Fremantle Dockers superstar Nat Fyfe is literally flying in the AFL pre-season. Great signs for the Dockers after their dual Brownlow medalist only played 16 games in the past 2 seasons due to injury. The 32-year-old was a mainstay at centre bounces during a high-intensity match simulation at the club's Coburn training base, moving comfortably and impressing with his stoppage work. The Socceroos need a win or a draw against Uzbekistan tonight to top their Asian Cup group. The Socceroos have only scored 3 goals in their first 2 games, but coach Graham Arnold isn't concerned.
We're an attacking team that knows how to defend. We've had more touches in the penalty box than any other team in this Asian Cup, so I think you're getting that wrong.
Striker Mitch Duke is out with a hamstring injury. Stay with us. I'll have all of your weather details next on 7's Morning News. See you right after the break.
7 News knows Perth.
Headlines flash by all day.
But to know the news, watch 7 News at 6 o'clock.
And here's why.
It was members of the gang crime squad that arrested him.
Our reporters are newsbreakers.
Are you a victim of their negligence?
With more exclusive reports that dig deeper
and demand answers.
We commit to travel to wherever the stories happen, even the front line.
Chris Reason from Channel 7 Australia.
As international news unfolds in Europe,
we're live to you at 6 p.m.
breaking down the global issues that matter back home in Perth.
7 News understands.
Our reporters travel from suburb to suburb.
Here in Joondalup
and across our state to bring you the news.
I can confirm
this is the team we trust.
And thank you
for trusting 7 News.
Checking your weather details now. Currently 26.5 degrees in our city. Sunny for most areas today, 27 along the coast for Joondalup and Scarborough. And for the rest of the week, sunny, a top of 29 degrees tomorrow, 31 on Thursday, 33 for our public holiday, 34 degrees on Saturday, dropping to 28 on Sunday, and a very pleasant 27 for Monday. And that is 7's Morning News for this Tuesday. Thanks so much for your company. I'm Tina Altieri. Have a great day.